Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Awaken the Wonder. I'm excited to welcome back my dear friend, evangelist Timothy McCain. Welcome back, man.
Come on, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so part one, man, we hit it hard on your brand new book, Use Your Jab, which is pretty cool to get the exclusive on that. We're going to go back to the beginning here, though, on your very first book. Can you believe you're an author of 3 books already?
Oh, man, bro, absolutely cannot.
It's crazy. So this one, crowns are greater than trophies. Where can people pick that up?
On our website at tmmonline.org, and also it's on Amazon.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about breaking generational curses today. So if you've joined us, we're going to hit a little bit on his book, but also talk about that. As we travel around the world, curses are something we see all the time because there's a lot of demonic activity. There's all kinds of things that are taking place with that. But sometimes it doesn't seem as supernatural, but it's just as supernatural when people aren't manifesting a demon or aren't very clearly possessed by a demon, as we've seen in a lot of overseas settings. You talk about confronting pride in this book.
Absolutely.
No, people don't like that. Why don't we like confronting pride, man?
Oh, man, because you got to look ourselves in the mirror.
So today we're going to do that. Talk to me about the book here. What's the message here?
Cool.
What do you want to get across?
So this book was birthed, man, out of some series of services that I've done. I've never in my life this happened to me before. I was given suicide letters. And it was repeatedly, I was doing these camps and conventions, things of that nature. And people handed me letters week after week after week after week. And it all said different things, but similar verbiage. If I kill myself, no one would love me. No one would miss me. I'm sorry. My mom and dad, they don't love me. No one cares about me. I have no friends. No one will listen. And all said the same thing along those lines. And my heart is broken of how much pain happens in silence. And especially the moments where they felt like the moment that they mustered up the strength to speak up and to speak out, they were met with busyness, and then thus assumed that when the representatives of Christ does this, Jesus believes this. And so I wrote this book and to families, to individuals, to create a space where healing can happen and to confront these generational issues that needs prayer, intercession, fasting, all that great things, but also our actions.
So give some practical tools here. If someone's like, hey, I know I've got some obvious stuff. I've been in depression. I've had suicidal tendencies, or I've been around people in my family are doing this. Yeah. What are some steps that either they can take or they can take with their families to take action in this area?
Absolutely. I'll give a personal example. And so alcoholism runs rampant in my family, right? And so I have family members, I remember vividly visiting a family member up north in Ohio. And every single time I would visit this person growing up, he had a cigar in one hand, moonshine liquor in another hand, an oxygen tube in his nose. And my father had many experiences where there was alcoholic issues and stuff around him. So he made a decision that he's not going to drink. He's not going to get drunk. He's not getting involved in that. And the thing about my dad was a traveling musician, open for bands, and he was surrounded by those things. But he made a decision that, hey, if I don't stop, if I refuse to invite it, and if I don't end this cycle, then I'm just going to give it to my children. And so he broke that cycle. So I never had to struggle with it because he never introduced me to it. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's important as we break in these generational curses, because oftentimes, bro, here's the thing. Oftentimes we shout for things we're not willing to fight for. We're going to church, man, we're bucking and shouting, won't God do it? And you leave in church with sweaty armpits and tired knees, have a person like you come into the church, lay hands and anointing and all that stuff started happening. But we have to come alongside and in our actions of what we're believing God for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So good.
So we're like, God, heal me from diabetes, but we're loving little Debbies and little ho-hos. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's important as we're breaking these generational issues, generational curses, that we come alongside every single aspect of spirituality as we possibly can, but coming in harmony with our actions.
Well, I'm reminded of a story. I was in California at a service, and a lady came up to the altar, and I said, from the platform, while there was a bunch of people at the altar, I said, if you don't even need me to lay hands on you. I said, God can heal you right where you are. And the lady goes, well, that makes sense to me. And she went and sat back down. And so in that moment, she got healed.
Yeah, come on.
She had enough faith to not get laid hands on. So the next day, she goes on a walk around her block. And she makes it a mile. First time she had done that in a decade.
Come on.
The next day, she does it again. And halfway through the walk, all the pain came rushing back in. She was half a mile from home. She couldn't walk anymore. She was in pain. Her hips started hurting. Her legs started hurting. And she's like, no. And there must have been a placebo effect and all this stuff. And right in the middle of the road, she's like, I don't care what I look like. I just lift my hands up to heaven. And she said, Jesus, she said, the evangelist was here the other day. He said that I didn't even need to get hands laid on. I know you healed me then. I've been fine since. And I praise you right now. And the devil's a liar. And right in that moment, all the pain left and she was healed. And she's been healed ever since. But I always love that story because the generational curse got broken off her right in that moment. And then it came rushing on back when all of the mental part came back in. And she called the devil out as a liar for who he was. And can I tell you, she is free to this day.
Yes,
it's beautiful. So I love it, man. How can people stay free once they get free? Because there are instantaneous miracles.
Absolutely.
We see them all the time.
Yes, sir.
But a lot of times people, they get that moment. They feel good in the presence. And then that night, they're back into some cycle of whatever, or their next time they go to that situation or that familiar circumstance.
Absolutely.
How do they stay free or process through the miracle?
Absolutely. I'll tell you a story along that. I grew up in North Carolina. I'm a Southern boy. I'm a sweet tea drinking, cornbread loving, pinto bean eating, grits type of brother. I love Southern food. Bring it on.
Come on.
And my mama, we had these things in North Carolina called fly tape, right? And there'll be fly. We have fly. I don't know if y'all. Maybe you know what fly tape is. Shout out to you. So, anyways, and so we would go outside, and we will sometimes forget to leave, forget to shut the door, and she'll say in and out, in and out, in and out. Pick one. And so what she would always say, hey, you're letting the flies in, and so here's the thing. I believe we spend so much time swatting flies, but suddenly do we give attention to the doors that need to be shut. Right? And so we give so much time giving attention to symptoms and not enough time taking the journey to roots, because that hurts the most. Because oftentimes
The roots.
we realize
Here we go.
that the perpetrator is ourselves.
Wow.
And so before you, as we were trying to swat the fly, I think, like I said, maybe you treat Sunday morning like this. Maybe you treat your Sunday morning experience, your midweek service experience. Maybe you treat church as a moment where the pastor can come alongside you and swat your flies. When in reality, we need to go home and learn how to shut some doors. And this is, like I said, once again, practically coming alongside an agreement to the faith that you are confessing and professing. And again, if I'm believing for God to heal me, of all these things, if I'm believing for God to heal my marriage or everything of that nature, then I know I need to learn how to communicate with my wife or communicate with my husband or whatever wherever you may be. We have to learn how to come alongside an agreement. And so we're not just shouting at things we're not willing to fight for. Wow. Because we serve a supernatural God, bro.
What are some of the most common things that you have seen that people do need to shut the doors, that you see just in every generation, every person, and everywhere you go? What are the most common ones?
Oh my gosh, a gossiping tongue. Man, let me tell you. Listen, I hope y'all wearing some steel toes boots today, because we talking about some things. Listen, a gossiping tongue is demonic, bro. I remember I had a dream, and this dream, it was people were wearing their Sunday's best. Right? They had their church clothes on and all this other jazz. And there was a person in the front, and it was like a rectangular table, and the head of the table, and there was an empty bowl and spoons, and everyone had it. Right? And they were smiling, and then the person in the front of the table prayed, and after they prayed, they threw up into the bowl. Okay? And then after they threw up into the bowl, they took the spoon and they ate the throw up, and then they threw it back up. Right, and then no one's like, "Oh, that's nasty," or nothing like that in the dream. And then they take the bowl and they pass to the person beside them, and so continue the conversation. They eat whatever they threw up. They eat it, blow it back up, give it to the next person. And that's what gossip is. You know what I'm saying? And gossip is French kissing with the devil. Wow. It's interchanging your tongue with his. You know what I mean? It is an acceptance of DNA. What's the enemy's DNA? To come to rob, kill, and destroy. And there's so much pain and issues and happening in families and homes and relationships through a gossiping tongue, through a tongue that creates distinct separation and pain, a tongue that then thus people get hurt, so then they don't talk. So they create this escapism. Let me sweep it under the rug. And because people don't know how to talk to each other. Families don't know how to talk to each other. The last chapter of my book is called Resurrecting the Altar of the Dinner Table. Wow. And that is once again creating a space so we can uproot the enemy that is running rampant in silence, and we can shine light in it. And so we can learn effectively how to talk and to communicate.
And that's so good. Wow. A gossiping tongue, vomiting the throw up and passing it to the next person. That's so good. Now, give us just a final thought here on this subject, generational curses in general. Yeah. People are like, you know what? I've tried. I've been prayed for. I feel good for a while. I might even be good for 6 months or a year, and then I end up back in some cycle. I just want to be free.
Yes. It's breaking generational curses. You understand it this way. Breaking generational curses is, you got to treat it not like a diet, but a lifestyle. Okay, you got to stop. Maybe you get this desire to make some changes, and you feel like you start one day and then ends the next. Maybe it's your New Year's resolution, and you start on January 1st, and you're back to February. Man, you're eating chicharrones con Valentina in your abuela's basement. You know what I'm saying? And because you treat it like a diet, like a crash course diet. Let me get the end result as quickly as possible, instead of let me evaluate my life. Why do I have a bad relationship with food? Why do I use food to cope? Why do I use these sort of things, right? And so it's examining our lifestyle. And so, because I write about three generations in the Book of Chronicles, you got King Joash, King Amaziah, and King Uzziah. All died and perished of the same behavior. Pride puffed them up. They could have had a place to repent, but they all went. It was just a crazy story. You got to read the book. And happened, but all it would have required, I believe at that moment, was repentance and effort. Wow. And so as you are believing God to break generational curses from your life, don't treat it like a diet. Treat it like a lifestyle change. Yeah. Because you got to give attention. What am I putting my hand on? What am I putting my attention to? What am I giving my attention to? And I believe you can see a shift in your life.
Wow, that's so good. Now, remind people again, where can they get this book?
Yes, so you can get it on my website. And this is what I love I love when people purchase the books from, you're an author yourself. I love when people purchase books from my website because it gives me a chance to come into agreement with them. On Amazon, it's on Amazon and Kindle and all that great stuff there, and which you can purchase. But when you come buy it from my website at tmmonline.org, it gives me a chance to pray for you. And when you buy it on the website, there's a place in the notes, and if you want me to sign it and things of nature, you can put where you intercession, and I can come into a place of touching and agreeing. And so Crowns, Gold, and Trophies, as well as my other two additional books, Use Your Jab and This Is Your Chance.
Wow, awesome. And where can people stay connected to you if they just want to follow you in general?
So follow me on my Instagram. Our ministry Instagram is TMM Online. And you follow me on my personal Instagram at Timothy_McCain. And Twitter at Timothy CW McCain.
Awesome, man. This has been so good having you here. Appreciate it. Friends, again, make sure you subscribe, Awaken the Wonder podcast, leave a rating and a review for us. It will help us to continue to bring great conversations like this with Evangelist Tim and many others. I know this is going to be a great blessing to you. Subscribe on the YouTube channel, Evangelist Caleb Wampler. And make sure you go visit Amazon or our website, kingdomencounters.us, to get your copy of my latest book, Hunger. I know it's going to be encouragement to you as well. Until next time, friends, we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to Awaken the Wonder. If you enjoyed today's show and want more ministry like this, please visit kingdomencounters.us, where you can find weekly blogs and my latest book, Hunger. Be sure to subscribe and follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at the tag Evangelist Caleb Wampler. If the Lord leads you to partner with us in the nations in prayer and giving, visit kingdomencounters.us. I'll see you next time.